What's going on, Gen Pros family? Welcome to the official Gen Pros live stream. It is Wednesday, May 12th, 2021, and I'm here with the one and only Michael Pfeiffer in the building today.
How's it going, guys?
How you doing today, bro? Feeling good?
I'm feeling good. It's going good.
Good. I'm glad to have you. Going to get into some good content-wise stuff. We're going to talk about the NFL matchups. The new schedule just dropped, so we're going to talk about that briefly. We're not going to get into every single team, but we're going to talk about the Sunday night football matchups. And then since our, unfortunately, and I say this with a grain of salt, unfortunately, a lot of our fan base are Lions fans. So we'll talk about the Lions briefly, who they got up first, who they got in the meat of the season, and who they are looking at towards the end of the season. So we'll get into that actually right now. Let's talk about the Lions real quick. So let me switch tabs here, and we'll look at the Lions. So Sunday, September 12th, the Lions have the 49ers, and that is at San Francisco. So that'll be an interesting matchup. I guess, Pipe, what are your takeaways from this first matchup with the 49ers? Do you think the Lions are ready? Do you think they got the tools, they got the right tools, or do you think they need work still?
So it'll be interesting with the 49ers selecting Trey Lance third overall and trading up. So I don't think he'll get the start. Jimmy G might be ready to go. It'll be interesting like how this new Lion team is going to shape up after the departure of Patricia and Bob Quinn. I was surprised last week by the wave of Kerryon Johnson. I don't really know why they did that. And the defense is just a lot of questionable moving parts. So it'll be a good game. 49ers is not that same team that made the Super Bowl in February 2020. So, John, what's your thoughts about the 49ers?
Yeah, the 49ers, they did a lot of rebuilding in the draft. They're looking to really build their offense and really build their secondary on defense. So I think that they are ready. Whether the Lions are ready, they're talking a big game right now, whether or not they're going to be serious contenders going into the 2021-22 season. So it's going to be a lot of rebuilding, and that's something that they did and that they're going to have to do ever since Patricia left. And they were even rebuilding when Patricia was here. Obviously, you got a new quarterback now with Jared Goff. Penei Sewell was the big pickup in the first round of the draft. That'll build your offensive line. Give Jared Goff a little bit more time maybe than before. I know a lot of people were talking. A lot of people were actually happy with the Penei Sewell draft, but other people were, obviously you want to see those skill players get drafted, right? You want to see those, players that are going to catch the ball, touch the ball. You want to see them get drafted, and you want to see them go to the first round of the Lions because you're obviously going to get a pretty reasonable spot in the draft if you're the Detroit Lions, and that's been the case year after year. Still haven't been able to figure it out, but it is what it is. So let's move on to week 2. They got the Packers. And listen, Aaron Rodgers is still indecisive on what he's planning to do going into the 2021-22 season. He's talking about his distaste with the Packers franchise. He wants to, get out. Almost has a similar mentality that Russell Wilson had in Seattle probably a couple months ago now, where he was just kind of talking, he's like, I'm tired of getting hit. I'm tired of this line. This entire, this management staff is just really not doing it for me. So there's some factors in there that go towards the narrative that Aaron Rodgers is really on the outs with the Packers. I guess have you heard about the Packers and Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I heard a stat like the last 10 picks the Packers have picked, it's been all defense, and the one offense is his replacement. So I understand his distaste. Then when the new coach got hired there, Matt, what's his name, John?
Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur. Yeah. The management told him not to be the problem. Then that call in the NFC Championship game, the kick and field goal, instead of going for the touchdown when you have Aaron freaking Rodgers, the league MVP. I could understand his distaste with the organization. And let's face it, this organization, the Packers, they've had Aaron Rodgers now in one Super Bowl. This might be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. They haven't managed the roster well around him. So I understand why Aaron went out, especially they picked Jordan Love when Aaron's still in his prime to take his spot. So.
Yeah, it's an interesting narrative, especially because I was actually watching. There's a really great video on YouTube. It's an NFL film video that's kind of like a documentary style, almost like a 30 for 30 on ESPN. But it's just really interesting. It's about Aaron Rodgers getting drafted when he got drafted, how he was coming in, to take Brett Favre's spot. He didn't go in the first 10 picks. They thought he was going to, and there's other people that did go before him, even though he thought he was the best on the docket to be picked for a quarterback. So really good watch. I would check that out if you get a chance. But yeah, that's going to definitely play a factor in the week 2 game. And we know it's always a dogfight between the Lions and the Packers. So we'll see how that one goes. Then they got the Ravens. Then they got the Bears, another NFC North matchup. Then the Vikings right after that, another NFC North matchup. Then you got the Bengals. Joe Burrow is back. He's feeling great. Then they got that other pickup from LSU that they're feeling good about. What's that guy's name from LSU that they picked up?
Ja'Marr Chase.
Ja'Marr Chase. So, yeah, picking up Ja'Marr Chase. Yeah, that was a big pickup because especially when you look at the history between Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr, that history is there, and that's going to be able to mend that offense and really make it into something great potentially. So look out for the Cincinnati Bengals this year. It's going to be a tough one for the Lions. But aside from the entire schedule, so we see the schedule weeks 1 through 13 here on the screen. Scroll down and we see the 14th week. We got to really look at what is the case with the Lions? What is their mentality going into it? Now, obviously, Dan Campbell has a brand new mentality that he's bringing into the Detroit Lions franchise. He's looking for something new. He's looking for something to really get involved with. And we're going to see how that takes and becomes a factor later in the year. So comment from Mama Bink, Rodgers just got engaged. Maybe he's going to hang up the cleats for good and become a daddy. That's a possibility. And the crazy thing is about that is Trevor Lawrence just got drafted to the Jaguars, is also engaged and getting married soon too. So I can't see him hanging up the cleats this early. That'd be kind of a conflict of interest and it'd be against the entire process that he went through at Clemson. So that's another interesting thing that we can see. And as we can see here too, the Lions don't play the Jaguars in the regular season. So that's going to be an interesting factor because they're going to obviously have a tough schedule if they're not playing the Lions, since that's most often an automatic dub for whoever's playing them. Comment from Uncle John. John, I'm a bit of a hater, but your thoughts on Tampa and Tom getting the 4th easiest schedule. Don't you think the NFL should make the Super Bowl champs, even if the win was aided by the refs, more competitive sked? I guess this is a tough one for me because obviously I'm a big Tampa Bay fan, big Tampa Bay guy. So I'm gonna root for my Buccaneers if I got the chance to. If they got an easy schedule, that is what it is. I guess looking at it completely objectively, I have to admit I think you give them a little tougher schedule, just test them a little bit more, see what they're capable of. They can beat and essentially be better than every team in the league when it comes down to winning it all. I think you gotta give them a difficult schedule. I mean, don't go out of your way to do it. I think if you get a tough schedule on your own, then I think that's fine. But don't go out of your way to give these guys a tough schedule unless you're really trying to, pound it home to them that they are the best team. They have the GOAT, and they are truly the best team in the league, obviously, which they've shown that they are. I think that it's a difficult thing. I don't know how that entire process even gets figured out. I guess, Pipe, let me ask you this. What do you think? Do you think that the Bucs should have got a harder schedule, or do you think that they're good?
Well, half of your schedule, you play division opponents, right? Or 1/3 of your schedule?
I believe so. There's a percentage in there that you do get your conference opponents, and those are conference games. You play them twice every year. Hopefully you do. You don't always play them twice. But the ideal, it might be the case. It might be the case. Sometimes it doesn't work with scheduling because you got to play different teams that aren't only in, like, say you're in the NFC or AFC. You have to play, obviously teams that are outside of your direct conference. But you also got to play people. For the Lions example, you're playing quite a few teams that are in the AFC. So they got to make a nice little mixture there. And how they determine that, there's going to be certain teams that get shortchanged. They might be playing more out-of-conference teams than in-conference teams. So you just got to look at it like that.
So the way I think the NFL makes the schedule is that you play your division opponents twice. So we have the Carolina Panthers who are going to be weak in the NFC South. We also have the Saints who Drew Brees retired. And who's the other team in the NFC South, John? Do you know?
I'm not sure. NFC South. So that would be
Atlanta Falcons. And
the Falcons are NFC South.
So you play those teams 6, and those are the 3 weakest teams in the league, and you have to pay them 6 times. And also, I think they play the NFC East this year. Their division plays the NFC East, and that's a weak division too. So everyone in your division has to play the same teams, maybe then 2 other games. So the NFC South as a whole is weak. But yeah, John, I'm curious what we're going to see from Tampa this year. Last year was really weird. They looked terrible in the regular season, kind of got it together towards the end.
Yeah, they really did. And they really didn't play. They did win some games when they counted in the regular season, but they did lose some key games too. We won't get too much into that. But as everybody knows too, Tom Brady really puts the gas on. He brings the whole team together. He's like, listen, guys, we had these losses here. We had some close wins here. That doesn't matter. We have to still execute in the postseason. And that's when the games matter. That's when the intensity really rises to a different level. And the expectations from the entire team go way up. So I think that all of those things have to go into account and really be taken into account and taken with a grain of salt. Mm-hmm. So let's dive into, before we get into our future topics here, let's talk about the Sunday Night Football matchups. So good comment from Uncle John. So this is something that anti-Tom Brady fans, anti-Tampa Bay fans, anti-Patriots fans, they always really reference Deflategate and all the whole ref thing. Listen, let's leave it in the past. I don't want to dig up the past either. I like your tenacity, though. He's coming for me. He knows where my kryptonite's at, and I appreciate that. So we'll see. We'll see how the refs do. But I mean, all I got to say to that is it's a really easy excuse against somebody that is just obviously way better than a lot of players and a lot of quarterbacks in the league. So it is what it is. Let's move on to the Sunday Night Football matchup. So week 1, we got the Bears and LA. Obviously, that'll be a good matchup between, obviously, I think it might be Justin Fields playing quarterback, right?
I think Andy's going to get the start. Then if they start off bad, then I think Justin's probably.
I think that they'll have that trigger ready to pull Andy Dalton off the field and put Justin Fields in there. And then obviously your boy down in Detroit, or was down in Detroit, Matt Stafford will be playing the Bears. So obviously some roots there, some back-led hatred that might have got put on the back burner when he goes to LA. But listen, that rivalry innately within himself is still going to be there. It's always going to be there. So the Chargers and the Bears starting off with fire, flames ablazing on Sunday Night Football week 1. Then you got the Chiefs and the Ravens. Obviously, that's going to be a big matchup between Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes. So you got some firepower coming right out of the gate here. And then you got the Packers in San Francisco, the Bucks and the Patriots. I mean, come on now.
Tom Brady back in Foxborough.
Yeah, I mean that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So, and then obviously now I don't want to really dive too much into the whole Patriots Bucks conspiracy theory game. But listen, people have been talking about Julian Edelman possibly retiring, putting on a facade, and pretty much Tom Brady came out publicly and said after he retired, he's like, listen, he's just retiring. He's just taking a little break. He just doesn't have the guts, and he just doesn't want to break Bill Belichick's heart by saying that he really wants to go play with Brady again down there in Tampa Bay. So we'll see what happens. I said that before Brady even came out and said that publicly. So that's definitely a possibility.
John, do you see Cam or Mac Jones playing for the Patriots this year?
I think they're really getting tired of Cam. I think they might have a similar mentality that the Bears do. They'll start playing Cam first just because he knows what he's doing. He has experience in the league. See how he plays and performs. If he's absolutely playing terrible, throwing picks left and right, they're gonna throw Mac Jones in there on top of Cam because they're just getting tired of Cam. He didn't really come out with any firepower, didn't make a playoff run this year. So they're not too impressed. And Patriots fans have to be heartbroken. One, when Tom Brady left, and two, when Cam Newton came there and really underperformed. So I think that they'll be quick to switch out Cam Newton for Mac Jones.
Mac Jones could be an Aaron Rodgers story, right? He was projected to go top 3, dropped all the way to 15. He had a 3% chance of dropping the 15.
Very similar, very similar. And then the crazy thing is, too, is there was analysts that picked Rodgers going to the Packers. What was it, like the 22nd round or something? It was something in the 20s.
25th pick.
It was a 25th pick. And then also in my mock draft and in a lot of mock drafts, people had Mac Jones going, first, second, third, at the latest, 6th or 7th. To the teams that needed quarterbacks. And quarterbacks have been heavy. They've been a big deal in this entire NFL process. Not only the draft, but through the trade deadlines and everything like that. The quarterback position has been very highly coveted. We've been looking at that for a long time. I'll address Uncle John's comment again. Do you got time for a prediction on the Lions record this year, or is that another show? No, I think I could do that on this show. We got some time. So I guess if I got to make a prediction, it's going to be a bold prediction. It's not going to be a prediction that many people are going to be like, wow, I could see that. I think they're going to go, I guess, how many games are we looking at in the regular season? 14?
17 this year.
17?
They added another game.
That's right, 17. So, that's a tough one. Let's say, I'll say 7-10. 7-10. I like 7-10. Yeah, because I like Dan Campbell. I like his tenacity. I like his different mindset going into this season. Really trying to bite kneecaps off and do that. It might be all talk and it might not. So we got to see how they play in their first couple games, the first couple weeks. I'll give them the week 3 until I see their full potential.
I think the over and under in Vegas right now is 4.5. They're supposed to finish the worst in the league considering the Vegas. Don't quote me on that, but just looking at the schedule here, I don't see the Lions favorite in any of the first 6 games. I don't know about you, John. But
yeah, I mean, like I said, those first 3 games are going to be very indicative of how they get placed and how they get their spreads drawn out into future games and against different competitors. So it's going to all come down to how can they convert on offense? How are they going to be able to defend the end zone on defense? And how can they play transition football? And that's really going to come down to that. How can they play reacting to bad situations and bad breaks and really capitalizing off of a good field position? How can you capitalize off, turnovers and stuff like that? You got to be able to really turn these types of plays into momentum. And if you can't do that, then you're not going to win games.
Well, John, as you said about the skill position, we lost Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay. We don't have anyone coming back at wide receiver. We signed Williams from the Raiders. We picked St. Brown in the 4th round, but John, it's going to be a position this year that's really going to hurt them. So it's a rough year.
So I just want to clear something up real quick. So Pfeiffer refers to the Lions as us. I'm not doing that. I'm referring to the Lions as the Lions. They're the Lions. They're not me. They're not my home team. None of that. Okay, so that is what it is. But aside from that, yes, we're losing a lot of players in skill positions. But how are they going to adapt and react to that? And that's gonna come down to coaching. That's gonna come down to positioning of different players, maybe going into your roster a little bit deeper, seeing what we got to work with, and then developing players that aren't superstars already, but really turning them into superstars. So,
were you surprised they didn't pick Devontae Smith? Just because the wide receiver is such a need right now.
I was really surprised because I thought they were looking for, you want to have that big, wide receiver. Maybe not big in a literal sense, but you want to have a prominent wide receiver that's going to be a good target for Jared Goff. Obviously, coming in, you want to have him accessible. You want to have him have accessible players that he can throw down the field to. So a little bit of controversy there, but I think I had Devontae Smith going to the Lions in the seventh round. Or the 7th pick in my mock draft, and multiple other mock drafts had that too. So let's address these comments real quick. Green Bay versus Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Lions might win 1 game. Jethro coming in clutch. So Green Bay versus Kansas City in Super Bowl. That's a bold pick, especially with all the friction right now with Aaron Rodgers. There's going to be some controversy there. There already is. So seeing what happens there, it's going to be interesting. Uncle John with a comment again. Hypothetically, if Aaron leaves the pack, who wins the Lions division? I think it's up for grabs. Yes, I mean, you're not looking at the Vikings being too strong. The Bears, they're going to be shaky at best unless they jump right into playing Justin Fields. I can't see Andy Dalton really transitioning super well into that Bears offense. I got to talk to my other roommate, Manson, about that because he's a huge Bears fan, probably a bigger Bears fan than anyone should ever be. But that's okay. We'll talk to him about that on another show. And because I actually do want to see how he feels about the Bears and how they're going to perform in the NFC North, because that's a conference that essentially is up for grabs. There's a lot of positions in these teams that have changed, and it's honestly anybody's game, especially if Aaron Rodgers winds up leaving the Packers.
I was talking to this Manson about this earlier, actually. He said he liked the Justin Fields pick, but the Bears, they struggled last year, John. They went 9-7, but it was not pretty. Moving on from Mitch Trubisky, that defense isn't what it was in 2018. So honestly, I would have to go with Kirk Cousins to win the NFC North if I had to pick, if Rodgers isn't going to be there, just because there is continuity there with Mike Zimmer, and the Vikings are a good team. They got Justin Jefferson, who is really a standout, and Dalvin Cook. So I would go with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings are definitely a contender for sure. So we'll be watching them too. And then who at that point though, who's fighting for second if Aaron leaves the Packers?
That could be anyone's game. Maybe
that's
Bears.
Up for grabs for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be interesting to watch too. Just keep an eye on the NFC North, see who contends, see who plays, and see who really fights for position. Because that's going to be very indicative of how the season goes and how the playoff picture is essentially painted. Moving on, where were we? Yeah, week 5. So we got the Bills and the Chiefs.
That's going to be a good one.
That's going to be a good one too. Yeah, Josh Allen, the Bills, they were the unsung heroes of last year. Maybe got burned a little bit. Who'd they lose to? The Ravens?
They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs.
They lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs. So
NFC,
that's right.
AFC
that's right.
Championship game.
So they defied a lot of odds, made it very far. I had them winning it all. Might have been a hot take. Yeah, I did. I like Josh Allen. I like who's the wide receiver?
Stephon
Diggs. I really like Diggs. And they had really good chemistry. So I'm looking at the Bills this year, and I'm still going to be putting them really high on my list, and they're going to be on my radar for sure. Then you got the Seahawks and the Steelers. So I think Ben Roethlisberger still playing, right?
Yeah, there's controversy there. I don't know who the number 2 is there. I thought they were going to look at a quarterback in the draft. I don't think they did, right, John?
I don't think they did either. And then they don't really have depth at the quarterback position. There's controversy still with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks and Pete Carroll and everything like that. So that'll be an interesting game. Then you got the Colts and the 49ers. That'll be a good game. Then you got your Dallas Cowboys and the Vikings. That'll be a face-off matchup. So obviously the Cowboys, their mission this year and this year's draft was to build their defense. That's what Jerry Jones wanted to do down there in Jerry's world. They wanted to build that defense. They want to protect the end zone because they were just getting burned. There was too many teams scoring too many touchdowns on them, and they want to be able to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, Jerry spent a lot of money on that defense with Lawrence and Jalen Smith. And I don't know if they're going to re-sign Vander Esch or not, but they did pick the kid from Penn State, John. What's his name? Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons, yeah, the linebacker.
Dak's going to be back. Maybe Zeke can get back to what he was. He is getting older now. I think 26 this summer. So I think they're the best team in that division, but the Eagles are struggling. Washington's struggling. And, of course, can't remember who the other team is in that division. The Washington football team, Eagles, Dallas.
You got the Texans too, right?
No, that's the AFC East, the NFC East. New York Giants. I'm sorry.
Dang, that's a good memory. I can't remember the divisions like that. I got to Google that type of thing.
They're really weak too, so I think Dallas comes out of the NFC East easy.
Yeah, I mean, Uncle John's a big Dallas Cowboys fan. I know my Uncle Doug's a big Cowboys fan too. So, I mean, they'll be glued to that like super glue the entire season. So they always watch the Cowboys. The Cowboys have been their team. Question for you, Uncle John. What is your and Uncle Doug's, like, where does it stem from? Where does the admiration towards the Dallas Cowboys, where does that come from? Let me know in the comments. Moving on, week 9, we have the Titans against the Rams. that's going to be a good matchup too. Then we got the Chiefs and the Raiders. Not sure how the Raiders have really rebuilt their offense or defense. They're kind of middle of the pack. Derek Carr is still the quarterback, so I don't really know how that's gonna play out. That's probably gonna be an easy dub for the Chiefs. Then you got the Steelers and Chargers, Browns and the Ravens, which that was a nightmare in the playoffs too. What
do you think about the Browns this year with Baker Mayfield coming off a career year, them decimating the Steelers in the playoff? I mean,
yeah,
that was crazy.
It was. I think that they're coming out with guns a-blazing, and I think they're going to really surprise a lot of people this year. And I've always kind of fought for the underdog, except for the Lions, because they've just been the underdog for too long and really have had nothing to show for it for decades, almost centuries. So I like fighting for the Browns. I know there's a lot of, trash talk going Baker Mayfield's way, and there people are calling him Cleveland's clown and this and that. But I really am pulling for the Cleveland Browns. I really am. And I want to see them do well. I want to see them perform. And this Sunday night football matchup, Week 12, obviously almost past the meat of the season. These teams should both be well seasoned in their gameplay. So
Odell
that should be a good
will be
game.
back this year, right? Is he still with the Browns?
Who's that?
Odell Beckham Jr.
I believe so, unless he sustained an injury that I don't know about.
He tore ACL last year, but he might have been a free agent. But the Browns made it to the AFC Championship?
It might have been. I think it might have been, because who'd they lose to?
The Kansas City Chiefs, but they beat the Steelers, and I think they beat someone else.
Yeah, it was close. It was close, but let's just look for the Browns to do well this year. I'm really excited to see how they perform and excel against, difficult teams. Then you got the 49ers and the Seahawks. Then you got the Green Bay Packers and the Bears, which is obviously one of the biggest rivalries in NFL football. So that'll be a good one. And then you got the Saints and the Bucks. It's going to be interesting to see how the Saints restructure that quarterback position after the retirement of Drew Brees. And after sustaining that heartbreaking loss to the Bucks last year in the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting. Then you got the Washington football team. They still haven't figured out who their mascot is. So let's just note that.
I think they're going to go with that name permanently. I heard some rumors a couple months ago. They're going to stick with the Washington football team. Do you like that?
I don't like it. I really don't like it. There's no identity there. It's just like saying the Cleveland football team or the Oakland football team or the Los Angeles football team. It's like, well, that's where you have controversy, really, because if you have the Los Angeles football team, then it's like, you're talking about the Chargers or you're talking about the Rams.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a little bit of controversy there. You need identity within a mascot. You just need it. If you got to adjust it, the same, mascot that you've had for, decades, almost 50 years, if you're going to want to change that, then you got to at least fill it in with something else. Don't just leave it vacant. So then you got the Vikings and the Green Bay Packers to wrap it up. A big NFC North matchup. That could be the entire conference right there. That could be the deciding factor. And then you have TBD games on Week 18. So they're ending and starting with fireworks, and there's a lot of firework-esque games sprinkled in there throughout the median of the season on Sunday Night Football. So make sure to watch that on NBC. A little bit of plug there. NBC, you can send me a little bit of royalty if you want. I highly suggest you do that. But yeah, let's move on a little bit. So NFL is big time this year. I'm really excited for these games. There's going to be some great games. There's going to be a lot of different teams. It's almost like watching a completely different league with all the changes that we've seen in the league.
Free agency completely changes a team's chances from year to year. So that's why it's so hard to repeat. The Kansas City Chiefs found this problem last year, the Tampa Bay Bucks. So be interesting if Tampa can, defend their championship. John, May 12, 2021, who's your Super Bowl winner? Are you ready to give us a pick? You going with the chalk, Kansas City? Do you think the Bills could?
So okay, let's make some ground rules. So let's just say that I can't pick the Bucks. Okay, let's say I can't pick the Bucks. Who am I picking to win it all? And this is you heard this here first, folks. You can look back at the timestamp, May 12th, 2021. Who am I picking? So if I had to pick one team, let's see, who would I pick? It's so tough because all these teams are so brand new, and there's so many teams that it could be. So just to distract myself for a quick second, I'll address Uncle John's comment. In the meantime, though, Pipe, think of yours. Back in the day, my day, the big rivalry was the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Dallas Cowboys. You could almost pencil one of them in to win it all every year. I really became a diehard fan when Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, and Michael Irvin came in. Now that's that's understandable. Okay, now if you grew up in that era, to have those kind of superstars align on one team, you almost have to pick one of the two, and you have to grow up and love one of them. So that makes sense, and that's a great reason. And I guess for that reason, that formed that admiration for the Dallas Cowboys going into even today. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I guess, Pipe, to distract me for a sec, who would you pick as your Super Bowl champ?
Baltimore Ravens. This is going to be Lamar's third full year as a starter. They made some adjustments on the defense, re-signed Matt Judo. I think they got J.K. Dobbins another year. They got Hollywood Brown, who's turning into his cousin Antonio Brown. I think the Ravens, John Harbaugh, there's continuity there. So I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens to upset.
I'm going to shock the world and say the Jacksonville Jaguars to win the Super Bowl.
Come on, John.
Hey, listen, I can pick whoever I want, all right? I like Urban Meyer as a coach. I like Trevor Lawrence. If you can take a head coach, and then take a quarterback, which is essentially the coach of the field on the offense. If you can take those two players and you can mold the entire offense. That's what they did in Tampa Bay with Brady. Tampa Bay was nothing before Brady came. Now he turned them into a very prominent franchise, Super Bowl winning franchise, championship winning franchise. If you look at it like that, I mean, it's like you could throw, and that's why people like what's the comedian's name?
Kevin Hart.
That's why Kevin Hart came out and said, throw Tom Brady on the Lions, see what he can do. And there's some truth to that. Like what can they do? And it's really amazing. So Uncle John, Buffalo is his pick. Buffalo is my close second. That's what I almost picked. And Buffalo Bills, they left a little bit on the field last year. They had some games that were toss-up games that they should have won. So it's really kind of crazy. So I think the Bills have a very good chance of making a run and take Bills Mafia all the way till I die. Obviously behind the Bucks, I'm big time Bills Mafia guy. So a little bit of an impress them there, give you a little bit of inside information. Since you guys are watching this live, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and thank you guys for commenting and integrating with us in the chat. We really appreciate it. So let's get away from NFL for a little bit, and then let's dive into, this is Piper's expertise is horse racing. We didn't get the chance to talk to him before the Kentucky Derby this year, but this year we got the chance to explain the inquiry that happened with Medina Spirit. And I think that second post-race test is still pending, and that could determine the fate of this determination. So Piper, let's talk about the Medina Spirit inquiry. What happened and why is this being looked into with a microscope?
So I've been a big horse racing guy. I'm going on 8 years of following the sport religiously. Bob Baffert, who's the trainer of Medina Spirit, he's known in the industry of pushing the envelope with these medications. 2018, Justify the Triple Crown winner. He actually tested positive for a drug that was prohibited by the Kentucky Racing Commission. Bob was able to slip his way out of that one, but Justify that year, he did not race as a 2-year-old, and he was great as a 3-year-old, and that's unheard of in horse racing. So it raised some eyebrows, like, how can this horse be so good? And people were already saying it had to be drugs, before it even came out. So Bob is known in the industry with strict scrutiny. The guy is a great trainer, yes, but he's willing to push the envelope. And unfortunately, this is horse racing. Everybody, these drugs really impact a horse's performance from race to race. And everyone's trying to push that envelope. That trainer is trying to get that big purse money, being the Kentucky Derby, win $1 million. The stud feeds are ridiculous. if you have a Kentucky Derby horse. So everyone's trying to push that envelope, and Bob got caught. I think the test is going to solidify that in 6 weeks, and we'll look at Melatonin as the winner of the 2021 Kentucky Derby.
So you think that the second post-race test, which is essentially the second test, is to eliminate all controversy, and maybe it's a fluke, maybe it's, misreading. Do you think that this second reading is going to test positive?
I do. Bob came out yesterday and said that he did put antibiotics in him, an ointment. He thinks it's going to come back positive. Medina Spirit set the race this Saturday in the Preakness Stakes. I haven't really looked in that race, but Bob's not going to be there because of all the strict scrutiny. And this is just sad. Like, the Kentucky Derby is a showcase of horse racing, and to have it be tarnished like this, kind of like the 2019 controversy, John, if you remember that with Maximum Security.
Oh, yeah.
When he cut off a horse and got disqualified, that was really a negative light in horse racing. This is our day to shine, and it's just sad. But so Bob knows better. He's been in this game for 30, 40 years. And the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission suspended him, cannot put a horse in Churchill Downs. So,
wow, let's talk about a big risk to take. So Uncle John with the comment, talk about a kick in the nuts. So you could have picked the winning ticket in a race that didn't get determined until weeks later due to a DQ, and you get 0. Wow. So I gotta believe if you're at Churchill Downs on the day of the Kentucky Derby, you're cashing that ticket immediately. And I don't think you can be expected to pay that back, can you? How does that work?
All results are official for pari-mutuel wagers once the stewards declare the race as official.
Wow. So that's even online then too.
Yeah. So I had Medina Spirit. I did. I liked him. I did make some money in that race. I didn't have the Perfecta, but I had him to win just because Bob wins the Kentucky Derby so much. So I did make some money that day, but
wow. So you heard it here first, folks. It's some kind of inside information that I might not have known if Pfeiffer wasn't sitting next to me. Who was it? If they determined the race?
His name is Melatonin by Brad Cox is the trainer. And I thought he was going to pull away, but he will be the Kentucky Derby winner if this.
Well, wait. No. So the betting thing. So if someone determines the race to be official, then that's it. Then all wagers are final. Then you're good, even after the fact.
Yeah, for pari-mutuel, like Maximum Security in 2019, the race wasn't declared official. They took him down. Sam, one of my roommates, lost a lot of money on that. But as soon as that race is official, go to the window and cash your ticket.
Wow.
Uncle John's right. Kicking the nuts.
Wait, how is that a kick in the nuts, though, if you still won the bet?
For me, but anyone who had the second place horse at 26-1.
Oh, so the second place horse, that's the real kick in the nuts. Because if you take the second place horse, they wind up winning, 2-3 weeks later, and then they didn't lose or they didn't win on the official race day. Then that's a kick in the nuts because then they should have won, but there's no way for anyone to be able to tell that because there's testing and stuff that happens post-race. So
who knows if he would have won, though, if this drug made that big a difference. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. We'll never know.
We'll never know. So let's get into a pretty touchy topic here finally to wrap us up. Let's talk about the Corona Cup 3.0. So Corona Cup 3.0 happening May 15th, 2021. We had a withdrawal from the other team. And we're not gonna get into that right now, but basically the matchups have been solidified. So it's obviously Pfeiffer and I going to regain our cup to reclaim our title. And basically we're really excited about that. We're juiced about it. We're ready to, hit that first tee box, juiced up. And I actually went to the range today. I was getting my driver all tuned in because I'm pretty confident with most of my other clubs. The driver's the one that I'm a little bit wary on. But the good thing about Ironwood, we're playing Ironwood again, is I really don't need my driver that much. I really don't. I could go out every single hole except for maybe 10 and 18. If I go 10 and 18 using my driver, then I probably could use a driver there. But every other hole, I can make it work. I can easily get on into with, you know, a 6-iron or a 5-iron. And usually I'll count on Piper to hit the drives. Let me ask you this, Pipe. Are you ready for the Corona Cup 3.0? And have you been preparing at all?
So I've been pretty busy with law school, just wrapped up today. I've been out once this year. The Corona Challenge back in October, that left a sour taste in my mouth. Me and Dan Stone did not have a great day. We fumbled apart the back nine and we finished third to last. That was disappointing. I want to put in the work this year. I need to get my game back to where it was in the 2010s. I need to put work in there and do that. And I want to start Saturday. This is a good foe in Sam and Mikey. So we definitely have our work cut out for us. Mikey grew up at this course, right, John? He's like a Mission Valley for us.
Yeah. So he grew up at this course. Yeah. So Mikey Santos is my cousin. He is filling in for the Beeper, which was originally Sam's partner. Some undisclosed information, some happenings have taken place where he is not playing in the Corona Cup 3.0 anymore to essentially claim their title that they missed out on the first Corona Cup. So Mikey Santos will be filling in for the Beeper with Sam to claim their title essentially for Sam's team. So they lost in a heartbreaker last year. If anybody doesn't remember it, please go back to the video and you can relive history by watching that video. But basically went to a playoff hole when we secured the victory by parring that auxiliary hole and they bogeyed. So it really came down to, you know, some really clutch chips. And it really came down to even more than that was Piper's 3-foot putts. Piper's 3-foot putts. If he can knock those down, we're not going to have any problems. Those are the putts that I just really, and I always let Piper hit those first because I just don't, it's not that I guess it kind of is. I don't really feel comfortable with them, but at the end of the day, I just don't want to hit them if I don't have to. So I give Piper the opportunity, but if Piper misses it, then I get the pressure on me. I usually can handle the pressure. Crumbled a few times in the first cup, but listen, we came home with the cup and everything was good. So I guess what are you looking for in your own game and with the opponents in this next Corona Cup?
So me for Ironwood, like John said, I don't really take out the driver much. Took out the driver at 15, I believe, and I hit in the creek. That was a big downer last year, but Mikey and Sam are power hitters. Sam can almost drive the green. I've heard Mikey Santos is just like Sam in terms of power.
He's got a good drive.
So yeah, they're definitely going to be close to the green. I think this is going to be harder just because Mikey, you know, has a little more skill than Tony, just because he's played more.
I think they'll have more skill in getting off the tee box, which the Beeper could not do.
Right.
Okay. He really just couldn't do it, especially on par threes. It's pretty much Sam might as well have just hit his ball and had Tony just throw his ball because it was absolutely horrendous. It was hard to watch even on the film of his iron play off the tee box on par threes. So hopefully he's working on that. We wish him all the best. But listen, I think it's going to be more of a tight matchup, kind of like you mentioned. It's going to be, you know, it's going to have us become more honest with our own gameplay, with our own skills. And I've said this a million times, and I'll say it a million more. And that is in a 2-man scramble format, which is regulated by the Corona franchise events. Pretty much all of their events are 2-man scrambles when it comes to golf tournaments. The Corona Challenge and every Corona Cup, that's how it is. So in a 2-man scramble format, anything can happen, regardless of skill level, regardless of how many rounds you played that year, regardless of how many putts you hit before that round, regardless of how many, you know, drives you hit on the driving range before you took the first tee. None of that matters. Throw it all out the window because everything matters once the game time starts. And any one shot can really determine the entire match, as we could see in the first Corona Cup. It came down to the wire, and once everything was said and done, you know, I mean, we took a 2-stroke lead, or no, we were down a stroke going into 17 after we bogeyed.
You had that chip on 17.
I think we bogeyed, I had that chip on 17 that gave us the par. They doubled. That put us up 1 going into 18. Then they beat us by 2. Or no, they beat us by 1. We bogeyed, they parred, and that tied it up.
Sam had that putt. I thought he was going to make the win it.
But those last 3 holes, there were so many. I mean, there was 2 or 3 lead changes.
Well, you made that clutch putt at 9. to give us momentum going in the back. We were
Right. I made a clutch putt on 9 to save. I think that saved par,
yeah.
and then I birdied 10.
I
So
don't
that was
remember.
a big determination because we were down. We were easily down a
Two
couple
or three.
strokes.
We
Yeah,
had-
2 or 3
we
going
had-
into the back 9.
We had a rough start on 2. We hit in the water a couple times, so we were
Right.
clawing our way back all day, and it just
Yeah, I was talking some trash. I was talking some trash in the beginning, just kind of being really lax about it. I was getting a little lazy. I was getting complacent. And then I got to the point, and it was almost too late, where I was like, okay, I gotta chill out. I gotta take my own medicine right here and be like, this game, this match could go either way. We could easily lose this game. I had a pit in my stomach. I'm like, this could easily go the way we don't want it to go. Good thing that didn't happen, and I'm still happy about that to this day. And the same amount of intensity, if not more intensity, is riding on this match this Saturday. So
I
I'm
came
really
in
excited.
cocky last time, John. I was like, Sam and Tony, we got this. Not this time.
Well, it was tense
Not
even
this
between
time.
me and Pfeiffer. It was tense because I remember we were on 18. I was on 18, and we hit an errant drive. I think I hit mine left and short. Pfeiffer's was good, but it was left, and it was obstructed. And you can see this in the film. So go back to the video. I'll put the link tree up here on the screen so you guys can check it out. Click the link tree and go to the YouTube channel. Find the original Corona Cup video. Go towards the end. And basically Pfeiffer hit like a worm burner into like these cattails. I'm like, I didn't say anything, but Pfeiffer, you can see on his facial expression, he is just absolutely disgusted with it. And then I was just like, where were you at? I was like, all I asked him was like, where were you at on the ground? Because I got to drop my ball there. And then Tony obviously is chirping me, trying to get in my head. But what he doesn't know is that was really boosting my confidence, because I knew that by him chirping me, that was him showing how nervous he was. And that's what he does when he gets nervous. So that really helped me out, not only on 18, but also on 19.
Yeah, Joe, what kind of Sam you think we're gonna see on Saturday? I've saw Sam where he's just on fire.
Sam was on fire the first Corona
I've seen
Cup.
Sam where he's just not having a good day, hitting backwards in the trees. So Sam's kind of a wild card when I played with him.
Well, here's the thing. So it's all about how Sam starts off. If he starts off hot, then he's going to play hot, probably at least through the front 9. But as soon as he has a couple bad holes and he doesn't have anyone to back him up, the good thing about this match, which is going to make it more difficult for Sam to crumble, is the fact that he's going to be able to depend on Mikey a hell of a lot more than he could depend on Tony.
That's true.
So that's not going to let him, crumble as much. He'll be able to take, even if he has a bad hole, he'll be able to hopefully adjust and get back to that. But if they're both playing bad, they're both going to crumble really quick. Because I know Mikey, he'll crumble if he doesn't play well, but if he plays well, he'll be good. And if they complement each other, they'll do pretty well the entire day.
I think that's a good team, and I think that's going to be Sam's partner for the Corona Challenge, maybe.
Yep, it probably will be. Yep. So
that's June 26th.
It's June 19th. June 19th is the Corona Challenge. So I'll put that graphic up on the screen too before we close off tonight. If you haven't signed up for the Corona Challenge yet, please do so. The deadline is May 31st. And get registered, get involved, because it's going to be one of the biggest tournaments that Flushing Valley sees this year. It's obviously for a great cause, for the Flushing Christian Outreach Center. We'll be making a significant donation to them, as well as donating food items, clothing items, non-perishable food items to them. So any kind of donation is welcomed, and we'll get that to them any way we have to. So we're very excited for that. We already have more teams than we did last year.
Wow.
So we're doing really good. We're really excited what we'll be able to do, not only for us and Gin Pros and everything, but to benefit the community that really helped bring us up to the people we are today.
A lot of Flushing Raiders will be there.
A lot of Flushing Raiders.
So you get to see people you went to school with.
Exactly. It's almost like a little bit of a reunion. If you went to Flushing, it doesn't matter really what age group. If you graduated, 3 years above us or a couple of years below us, and anywhere in between that, it's going to be a nice little reunion for everybody to meet up in the summer. So obviously better weather too than we did in October.
That was rough.
You're not going to have a frost issue. Hopefully not in June. It's already still getting a little chilly here in May, but it's warming up. But we're looking forward to that Corona Challenge, guys, and we really want you to be a part of it. So we have some spots left. The spots are limited. So get involved, message me, send me a DM, email us, do whatever you got to do. I'll put our email down there so you can shoot us an email, get you guys involved with the registration form, and then you'll be on your way. Pipe, you got anything left for the people before we let them go?
Just sign up for that Corona Challenge. Be a good time. There'll be some time to congregate outside, right, John, by the pool area. Do you have anything set up with Angelo about that?
So I don't know what's going on afterwards. That'll probably come about closer to the tournament. So obviously we're almost a month out now, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy, but yeah. So we'll figure all that out as far as after everything is as concluded. But before that, we have coffee and donuts and everything for everybody. Yeah. And then everyone gets a 6-pack of beer. Every single person, not just every team. Every single person gets a 6-pack of beer, which has been a big selling point this year, which is compared to last year where we're supposed to have a keg, but we didn't. And it is what it is. But 6-pack of beer, then you have a hot dog at the turn, then there's a burger bar at the end of it. And obviously there'll be, donations and anything like that. We'll have close to the pin all the announcements following the tournament. There'll be the jacket, the Gin Pros official Corona Challenge jacket presentation, and those will be presented by the past winners, Dominic Marszewski and Mickey Mopa. If they win it again, I guess they'll be either putting the jackets on themselves or I'll be putting them on with somebody else that's putting on the event with me. So,
are you going to release some odds, John?
And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you asked that because tomorrow or tonight, I haven't really talked to Vegas because there's a little bit of collusion between Vegas and the Corona franchise of events. We haven't really figured it out who's really wearing the pants in that relationship. They told us late tonight or sometime around the afternoon tomorrow, the Corona Cup 3.0 odds will be released. The odds for the Corona Challenge won't be released until June 1st. So look forward to that. June 1st will be the odds of the Corona Challenge, and the Corona Cup will be released tonight or tomorrow. So get your bets in.
Runner-ups this year, Brown and
Brown and Householder. They're the runner-ups. They have not signed up yet. I've talked to both of them. They said they're interested and they want to join. They just haven't filled out the registration form yet. I got to probably kick both of those guys in the nuts just to make them do that. But we have our reigning champions that have signed up.
That's good.
And there's multiple others from last year's lineup that have signed up too. So really excited for this year's tournament. A lot of great stuff planned. So stay tuned.
It'll be better, right, John? You have more time to plan with Angelo.
Oh yeah, it's a way better process because last year how we did it was just kind of thrown together. It was really well planned.
Yeah,
it was good organization, except for crunch time, which we won't get into that. But getting all the players, getting all the teams set up, getting the cards and everything set up.
Tough.
That was a little bit tough to do in a time crunch. So we had roughly 2 weeks, and I'm telling you, that's stretching the time right there. It's just telling you how much time we had to plan and prepare for this, because this started as an idea on October 3rd, the day of the Corona Cup 2.0.
Yeah.
And we're like, we really want to have an end of the year extravaganza, have an end of the year tournament. It'd be sweet, bring it back to Flushing Valley, have everybody from our hometown there. And it sounded like a great idea, but it was more or less a pipe dream. I'm like, it sounds good.
It blew up in 3 weeks.
Well, yeah, I'm like, it sounds good, but I don't know if we can get those numbers in that time. We wound up getting, I think, 19 teams, so 37, 38 players, something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever the odds, 38 players. And it was a great turnout, great event. And great day of golf.
Will be set this year, right? We
don't
have any problems.
No problems this year. It'll go through flawlessly. I have plans A through Z, and I'm prepared to execute any one of those, no matter what life or the course throws at us. So really excited.
Yeah, be good. And go out and support Angelo and Maria, right, John?
Yeah, go support Angelo and Maria and everyone at Flushing Valley. They're doing a great job, and they're helping us out a lot with the entire process. So really thankful for that. But yeah, we'll leave it at that, guys. I want to thank Piper for joining me tonight on the live stream. Really great content. Stay tuned for everything Corona Cup 3.0 and Corona Challenge wise. And we'll talk to you guys very soon. Have a great night.